This is Talk Easy. I'm Sam Fragoso. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm joined by actor Joaquin Phoenix. To run through his credits is to name some of the finest films of the past 3 decades. To Die For by Gus Van Sant, Two Lovers by James Gray, The Master by Paul Thomas Anderson, Her by Spike Jonze, You Were Never Really Here by Lynne Ramsay, Come On, Come On by Mike Mills, and those are just a few of my personal favorites. But in 2020, he won Best Actor at the Oscars for his work in The Joker, playing the titular comedian turned sociopathic killer. It's a role he actually relished, so much so that him and director Todd Phillips decided to return to Gotham with Joker, Folie, Deux. Here's a clip from the trailer.
2 years ago, the name Arthur Fleck hit Gotham like a hurricane.
The trial of the century.
They believe Arthur Fleck to be some kind of martyr. Well, he's not. There's a monster.
Showtime.
The whole world smiles with you.
You can do anything you want.
The sun comes.
You're Joker.
Look around! Look at all these people!
Bring on.
I will no longer allow any of you
So stop your sighing.
to keep me down.
Be happy again.
I got the sneaking suspicion that we're not giving the people what they want.
That was from Joker, Folie, Deux, which opens in theaters in the U.S. on Friday, October 4th, and around the globe later in October. Phoenix is compelling as ever in the role, excavating the essence of Arthur Fleck. Around the first film, I remember the coverage focusing largely on how Phoenix transformed into the part, how he lost 50 or 60 pounds to get into character. But the emphasis on his dieting, the workout regimen, etc., elided what I think is Phoenix's greatest gift as an actor, his presence. Whether he's playing a burnt-out teen in To Die For, a traumatized World War II vet in The Master, or Napoleon in Napoleon, his work always feels more lived than observed. He doesn't transform so much as he inhabits. He recently told Vanity Fair, quote, "I always thought that acting should be like a documentary, that you should just feel whatever it is that you're feeling, what you think the character is going through at that moment." On paper, that sounds like two conflicting ideas. Is he working out complicated feelings from his own life, or has he fully entered the mind and body of his character? Where does the person begin and the actor end? And yet, the work itself seems to resolve those questions. On screen, what should be competing desires exist in harmony. He offers this mix of hyper-presence and untold preparation, with never a false note delivered, which is also how I describe talking to Joaquin. Now, fans of his know that he has long been averse to press. I think that's been pretty well documented by now, or at least certain kinds of press. The amount of podcasts he's done can be counted on one hand. But what I felt, and what I hope you hear, is someone uniquely attuned to the moment. Someone who wants to, can't help but be honest and vulnerable. But also, it should be said, feels ridiculous about being honest and vulnerable, at least on microphones. And so today, in the midst of talking about his nomadic childhood, which we do, his formative performances, which we highlight, or his ideas about acting, which we unpack, this is also an episode about the limits of this format, at least as he sees them. The push and pull of a quote-unquote candid interview. It's simultaneously, not unlike a Joaquin Phoenix performance itself, blurring the lines between lived and observed. Which, as you're about to hear, is true right from the start of this conversation, just as we were sitting down. Take a listen.
What's up? How's it going? Hi.
Joaquin Phoenix, nice to meet you.
Nice. Well, we met outside.
Joaquin Phoenix, nice to meet you for a second time
Nice to meet you as well for a second time.
This
Sorry, I didn't.
this time-
I didn't mean to start off like out of a serial. I just, yeah, we met.
How are you doing?
Well, how am I doing? You mean how am I interpreting and perceiving my life?
Yeah.
Really, really good. But yes, I have to say I am very appreciative of my life right now.
Do you want to power rank all the things that you're appreciative of in order?
No, no, I don't.
We can go back to that. We can get back to that.
Sure. My son yesterday, we were having lunch and he does like a gratitude kind of list, during lunch. And so it reminded me of that. Also, then at lunch, they asked what I was grateful for, and I didn't say anything.
Why didn't you say anything?
Because I thought I'd save it for this.
That's what I thought.
I just wanted it to be fresh when I said it here. No, I did say things, but they were, that's for him.
This is almost like a disclaimer. I heard you in one interview say that there's nothing worse than actors talking about acting.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with that.
You don't agree with that?
I don't know. I don't know why I said that. Maybe I felt that way at the time. And maybe I'll feel that way once I leave the studio today, after you hear me talk about it.
Well, the second part of the quote, which is even funnier than the first part, is, and the reason I keep making movies, which is the reason I keep doing interviews, is because I hate the last thing I did. And I'm always trying to rectify my wrongs. The premise of this episode, I thought, was...
You want to help me rectify my wrongs? I don't think we can do it in an hour, but I'll give it a shot.
It's my understanding, like at home, when you're alone and you have time to read a script, you sometimes get this like strong feeling in your gut, a feeling that you've described as, quote, very meaningful to me. I figured this is a good place to start, like reading this new film of yours from Todd Phillips and Scott Silver. What was that gut feeling this time around?
I don't remember really what the feeling I had associated with it was, but I do know that working with Todd and in this world with this character, I know that we're going to find something that's like satisfying to be a part of, like to be a part of that creation in that moment. So I feel like certain about that. I don't know that it's going to work out or anyone else will like it or think it's good, but I know that I'm going to have an experience of working with Todd where it feels like we are exploring something or uncovering something new or, I really hate hearing actors talk about acting. It's the fucking worst. I mean, congratulations. You did it. We're like 5 minutes in and you've done it. Congratulations.
I don't know whether to feel proud or ashamed.
Yeah, I don't know either. Honestly, a part of me is like impressed with you and also like repulsed. I don't know.
This is not an unfamiliar feeling.
Trust me, however much you are repulsed by me, I am much more by myself.
Oh, I'm sure. Although I promise you, I am much more repulsed by myself than I am of you. There's no question of that. Every day, you wake up and
there you are.
It's a tough beat.
Well, just avoid the mirror.
I try that.
You don't have kids.
Not yet.
Yeah, that'll change.
That changes
change things. Yeah.
What happens?
I mean, maybe simply you're just not the first thing you think about. You have like immediately like purpose that is much more important than like any thought that you may have. That's nice. Wow, vodka, smart. That's smart. Regular
just water on mine.
Yeah,
weird.
Yeah,
odd. We gave you
vodka.
That. Yeah. I mean, that's just sort of entrapment at this point.
Right.
Somewhere in the second or third week of making the first film, you said to Todd, maybe start working on a sequel.
About halfway through the shoot, I think maybe it started off as a joke. Like this character, imagine where you could put him and what could happen. And then I became more serious about it. And long before we finished shooting, I'd been talking about it quite seriously. I didn't really want it to end. Is
that usual on projects that you don't want them to end?
No, I mean, I guess it's, I think I spend a lot of the time going, when is this gonna, I don't know if I don't have to keep this up. And then maybe it's like when you want school to be over and then it's over and you think like, oh no, but now when am I going to see my friends? And
right.
It's just going to change. What are we doing for the summer? But I think I felt like there was something about the character and the way that Todd and I were working that I just wanted to continue that. I mean, I mocked up like 10 different posters of famous movies, putting Joker in all of them, like Rosemary's Baby, Yentl, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, The Godfather, like every classic film. I work with this amazing on-set photographer, Nico, and he took photos of me and then photoshopped them into these posters. And they're like pretty seamless. They look like amazing. And I gave it to Todd because the joke was put Joker in space, put Joker on ice skates. I don't know. It's like, but the Yentl poster, like you see that and you're like, yeah, that should be made. So I was hoping that would inspire some ideas in Todd.
Oh, and one of the ideas it inspired is between him and the production designer, a man named Mark Friedberg. He created this elaborate 360 set for the movie. But how did that change how you found your way into a scene?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, whatever happens on the set, that is like part of the process. And so if it's that you're on a set and there's only one fucking wall that you're shooting against and everything else is open and you're just seeing wires and lights, that's also part of it. Like, it certainly feels better as an actor to be fully immersed in a space, to feel like you can go anywhere. But I don't know what is the best thing for me. And sometimes fighting against that might be good as well. But certainly you walked onto this set and you forget that you're on a stage. It's like the fucking holodecker. Was that what it was in Star Trek? Like, aren't they just in like you never saw Star Trek?
I not much.
Well, you should watch it. I can't let you do all this fucking research.
On you.
And you don't.
We'll get into Star Trek
You should have
movie.
known. It's Star Trek, when I was a kid, we had like one channel that came through on the television when I was a kid. And Star Trek, The Next Generation, was one of the shows. So anyways, that's how I know fucking Star Trek. Who cares? You're right. You can also just go, hey, let's not go down this road and talk the story about Star Trek because I don't really fucking care. Because I don't.
Well, I think we should try talking about things that we mutually care about.
Okay.
There's a lot of singing and dancing.
I don't care about that.
Yes. I'm not done.
Okay.
Have faith in me.
I know, but I mean,
Okay.
like, I want you to feel relaxed and I've got time, but not really. All right. Wow.
Strong.
Very strong.
Very strong.
Yeah, but like,
yeah, 80 proof.
cool.
Yeah, no problem.
Cool.
I was watching it last night at the Century City Mall. I was thinking about you 40 years prior in 1981, you and your family at the same mall, wearing gold tank tops from Kmart.
Right, but not all of us. Only the three eldest.
Sometimes singing Can't Buy Me Love.
Yeah, it's true.
Iris Burton was at that performance in Century City Mall. What do you remember about that?
How do you know that that's true? Any of that's true? Because if I said it, it's probably not true. And if somebody else said it, it's certainly not true. Where are you getting your information from?
The point is, when you were performing 40 years ago, singing and dancing, did you enjoy doing that?
I did. I didn't like rehearsing.
With the family, just in general?
I mean, I love my family, but I didn't like rehearsing. And it's so funny how there are those things in life that never change or dissipate or kind of like these foundational pieces of your personality, particularly when it comes to something that's kind of creative expression, because it's such a familiar feeling to me. Anytime I go make a movie, I'm 49, maybe 50, and I still feel like that kid oftentimes. And I don't really fucking know what it is, right? It might have just been like, yeah, maybe I wanted to be doing something else. I have like this like romantic version of it in my head, which I still maintain, which is that I just want the feeling to be like authentic and original, and I just want to be a part of it when it comes up.
And something about rehearsing takes the romance out of that.
Yeah, but that may not be true. I mean,
Right.
It just might be the story I'm telling myself. It might just be because I'm fucking lazy. I don't really know, right? But it feels that way, that I seem to feel like, well, there'll be people and, you'll be reacting to them. You'll be reacting to the moment. We're sitting here in the living room. I'm just wearing my regular shorts. When I put on those gold shorts, oh man, when I put on those fucking gold shorts, look out. That's what I say to my dad. I say, Dad, look out. Yeah. So when we actually played and we're singing, yeah, it was fucking fun.
It's true. Those things that are foundational, it's hard to break away from that. There's something in you that was like, we'll do it when we do it.
I think so. But, I don't know. Maybe I could be a better actor. Maybe I would have been better. Maybe I should have rehearsed more. Maybe I should.
I know you're wondering.
I've been making a mistake.
Was the point of this podcast to figure out whether or not you've been a good actor? And the answer is...
Well, I didn't need the podcast to tell me no. I know that there is much to improve on. But that's the cool thing. Life, you get to...
Keep rolling.
Just get to keep doing shit over and over. And there is no finish line.
Well, there is a finish line. But,
well, you die.
Right. When you guys drove across the country from Florida to Los Angeles in a beat-up station wagon, it was missing a back window. Your mom was roommates with Penny Marshall in college. She called and said, "What do you think?" And she's like, "Don't know if you should come." And
who told you that? Because none of that is true. But that sounds great.
None of that's true?
I've never heard that before in my life.
It was from you.
Oh, here you go. Let me have another drink here. Yeah. Okay, now that's... Okay.
With the drink, it's feeling true, right?
It is feeling true. That is true.
In those early years, the 7 of you were posted up in that 1-bedroom apartment in the valley.
Yeah.
That didn't allow children.
Or dogs. Yeah.
Or dogs. With a landlady that lived above you.
Yeah.
How did you guys sneak out to do auditions?
I don't know. The woman that lived above us, she was good with us. It was the owner of the building who wasn't cool with us. She's the one that would alert us that the lady was coming in. And that's when we would go into the laundry room to hide. And the thing is, there were always so many people in our lives that were just good to us for reasons that I don't really know, because we must have been some fucking shabby motherfuckers. Seriously.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, what was this, the 80s? My parents were still, my mom, no makeup, long hair. My dad with the beard. You got River, Rain. At the time, I was Leaf then. Leaf, Liberty, Summer. We've been like, what the fuck is that? You know what I mean? It'd be like crazy fucking hippies. I don't know. So I imagine that we looked fucking shabby. We probably did, but we had a lot of good people that helped us.
Yeah, along the way. I started the show in part because of a guy named Studs Terkel. He used to do radio in Chicago. He's an interviewer, and he did interviews with everyone from James Baldwin to the guy who drove his bus. And it instilled in my dad this desire to talk to people that he'd meet in the world, whether it's people on the bus or the driver. He'd always talk about and ask about their stories. And I read somewhere that this is something you and your father would do.
My dad would do. Yeah.
Do you remember those interactions and what did they do for you? Yeah, but
it's not. I think he was just a person that would just talk to anybody. You know what I mean? He just was my dad's he's a tough dude, so he wasn't scared of anybody, and he also had a really strong faith. So he navigated the world with a certain amount of confidence, I guess. So I know that he would talk to whomever it was, somebody panhandling on the street, or I think he was probably more comfortable talking to somebody that you just met on the street than an executive at NBC, to be honest. That probably...
Which is where your mother was working.
Yeah, that probably made him uncomfortable. But I was when I grew up, I'm definitely not going to do that. I got to make money and build a wall, because I don't want to talk to anybody ever. That's what it instilled in me.
Is that true?
No.
I didn't.
But I have built a wall, and its security system is fucking epic.
I'm sure. You don't have to get into it, really.
No, but I want, because it's
it seems like you want to.
I want you to come into my world just because I want to see you go through all of the different checkpoints.
I don't know what you think this show is, but it's feeling like that. But did it instill in you a curiosity in people?
I wish that I was being a bit more sincere here. Let me see if I can get into that place, because I like what you're saying, and I wish that I would have just said that from the beginning instead of making a joke about building walls. I wish I would have said it made me more curious.
I kind of think the joke and the sincerity can go hand in hand. They can be together.
No, we're not doing that.
Actually, we are going to keep both things in.
I really honestly, I don't know, but I hope that it would make me curious, and really more than anything, just not judgmental. But I don't know. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I think Mike Mills told me about Studs Terkel. Maybe we were looking at him for reference for this movie we did.
Yeah, come on, come on.
Come on, come on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. At some point, you land a role in a show called Hill Street Blues.
Uh-huh.
And the shoot produced, quote, a feeling I've been chasing ever since. What did that feel like for the first time? Like, did you know it was special instantaneously?
I think the very first job that I did, me and my sister were guest starring in a show that my brother was starred in. And that was the first time I had the feeling, which I don't know how you describe it, fucking jolt of electricity. Anytime you've ever had any excitement or that jolt of inspiration and energy like coursing through your body, like, you know, you feel like tingly. So I had it then, but that was more in reaction to something else, right? Which is these other characters, they were fighting, they had a physical fight, and we were witnessing it and reacting to them. So of course, you know, kids are so unguarded, you're so in the moment, and we reacted. It felt real in some ways, and the exhilaration of it not being real. Somebody scares you and you actually fucking jump, and then you fucking giggle because it's not real, and there's something fun about that, right?
You were like 8 years old then?
I was 8. And then Hill Street Blues, that was the first time that I was, I don't know that I would say that I'm controlling it, because I think I'm still, like, even when I am instigating it, I feel like I'm still primarily a participant, but I was generating the force and it was affecting other people.
You could feel that.
Yeah, I mean, I could see also on their faces. They were like, you know, shocked, because maybe in some ways, like, those TV shows, you're just like running and gunning, right? You're going one thing to the next, and you come in as a guest star and you don't have a lot of time. And I don't know. I think that I took it very seriously. And I think they were surprised to see a little kid taking it so seriously, right?
There's a scene also, I think, where you're slapping your mother in the face.
I don't think it's the mother. I think it's like maybe a social worker or
a cop,
someone
at the police station. She's saying like your father's unwell or something like that.
I don't even know what the episode was about.
Daniel, in a little while you're going to the juvenile authority. I was just talking to the lady on the phone and she sounds very nice. And you know, they have other children over there.
What did my mom do wrong?
What?
What did my mom do wrong?
Your mother didn't do anything wrong, sweetheart.
My daddy said she was evil.
Oh, Daniel, that's not true. He didn't mean that. She's not evil. It's just that, look, your daddy's very sick right now.
Daddy's not sick. Don't say that about him. Don't say that about him. He's got a man in him.
I'm all right. I'm all right.
He's got a man in him. Let me go. Let me go.
Thank you. I'm all right.
Go. Let
him go. Let him go.
This also, by the way, now it's my adult memory of a child, like, they might have been like, okay, when's lunch? You know, like, and I was like, whoa, that was fucking intense. They were rocked.
And you're retelling, it's like everyone goes to a standstill.
Yeah, everyone's like, oh my God, this kid, he's got it. You know, and they just were like, it's a guest starring spot on Hill Street Blues. Let's go. But in my mind, it was the origin story.
Isn't that kind of unbelievable though? Like, it can mean so much and you can infuse it with so much meaning for you and your story, and to the other people, some of whom are maybe still alive and could be listening, go, wasn't that great? I mean,
yeah,
we kept it rolling.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're not listening. First of all,
really? I thought the ratings went up since you were here.
No, I was wrong about that. I was wrong. It wasn't until I started telling this story. They turned off. They were on the show. They were the stars of Hill Street Blues. I started talking about it. They go, this is fucking boring. And they switched to the channel. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's part of it, right? Is maybe nobody did have that reaction, and that's what I needed to tell myself to keep going. I don't know.
Right. But you had a reaction.
I did have a reaction.
And that matters.
I certainly knew. How do we talk about these things without falling into cliche? But it was going to be my path. And that feeling and subsequent similar feelings helped me stick with it, even when circumstances change and it seemed like I may not have those opportunities. And we moved out of LA and, you know, all these things throughout my life. There were a period of time where I didn't work, and I still knew that something wants to do whatever the fuck it does. I don't know. It just all sounds so fucking stupid. But you know what I'm saying?
I know.
And who cares, you know?
Hey, can I add something? And you can do with it, and you can tell me to fuck off. Can I say, I care?
Oh, please. But
no. I mean,
that's adorable. But we don't know that for sure because right now we are sitting here in front of the microphone and part of this is like even subconsciously you're like, I still have time to turn this into something hopefully. So
Yeah,
I just
you and I both.
I gotta keep, I'm speaking for you. I'm your inner voice.
Right. Oh.
I gotta be encouraging here. He's walked out of interviews before. Maybe if I say this happened one time, it's still, a thing. So
This is good. My inner head, that's a pretty good bit he just did.
Yeah. So, anyways.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I'll save the rest of my sincerity for the end. Whatever that scene was, whatever that moment was making it, it was a feeling you felt. And I want to go to another feeling I think you felt watching a film that I believe your brother showed you right after he made, I think, My Own Private Idaho with Gus Van Sant. He showed you the film called Raging Bull. And I thought we could watch that for a second. Is that all right?
Sure.
Some people aren't that lucky. Like the one that Marlon Brando played in On the Waterfront, an up-and-comer who's now a down and outer. You remember that scene in the back of the car with his brother Charlie, a small-time racket guy, and it went something like this. It wasn't him, Charlie, it was you. You remember that night at the Garden, you came down my dressing room and you said, "Kid, this ain't your night. We're going for the price on Wilson." Remember that? This ain't your night. My night. I could have taken Wilson apart that night. So what happens? He gets a title shot outdoors in a ballpark, and what do I get? A one-way ticket to Palookaville. I was never no good after that night, Charlie. It was like a peak you reach, and then it's downhill. It was you, Charlie. You was my brother. You should have looked out for me a little bit. You should have looked out for me just a little bit. You should have taken care of me just a little bit. Instead of making me take them dice for the short end money. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. Instead of a bum, which is what I am. Let's face it. It was you, Charlie. It was you, Charlie.
How you doing, Jake?
Everything all right?
Yeah.
Ready?
You got about 5 minutes.
Okay.
Need anything?
Nah,
You sure?
I'm sure.
Jesus Christ. It's the best. He's the best. The best ever. The best ever.
What do you make watching that?
I honestly don't know anything really about acting. I really don't. But De Niro, like the Irishman, there's that scene where he has to talk to Hoffa's widow. It's fucking stunning. It's really a shocking scene. And I know age doesn't have anything to do with it, but just like after you've been great so often, so much, how do you find something that feels like that? I've never seen you do that. And it feels so authentic to the character and to the moment. And I'm just like, just affects me viscerally. And
How the hell is there a new move at 75?
I don't know. He strikes me as somebody who's not trying to make moves. And I think the thing that's like beautiful about that scene, and he might have like mapped everything out for him. Maybe he's like so good that when I watch that, it doesn't seem like somebody who is trying to tell the audience anything. And bad acting is just when you're trying to get a point across, right? And you're going like, do you understand me? And that's usually when it's bad, right? And I feel like De Niro just consistently, he never seems like he's desperate for you to understand him or understand like the motivation or anything like that.
Did you feel that when you worked with him?
I wasn't paying attention to him. I just never even really thought about it.
You know, when I saw The Irishman, the two of them, Pesci and him and Scorsese, introduced it. And something about seeing them for 2 seconds and them talking and then watching this movie and thinking about like friends making movies together for 50 years. I remember watching it and having the feeling you had, which is like, they're doing something new, which is incredible. I like broke down to see that they like still cared, but all of themselves in that. And it was so moving.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine the business side of things have changed so much in those 50 years. So like to navigate that and still, hold on to this thing, whatever kind of sparked that from the beginning. It's incredible. But they've done it. And I mean, then De Niro goes and it's like, they all do Killers. You know, De Niro, you're like, are you fucking kidding me? I can't figure it out because there was something like angular about his face in Killers that I've never seen before in any movie that he's done. And I was like, how is this happening? Is this just my perception of him because of how he's portraying this character? That years of seeing fucking, from when I was a kid, seeing Disney villains with fucking pointy faces that somehow merged in my mind as I'm watching this. But somehow he's never had like this like angular face, but suddenly he just seems like pointy and angular in a way that I'd never seen. And so I'm going, is there something with makeup? Is this the lens? Is the angle that they're shooting from? How is this being achieved? I've never seen him look that way. And here's this new character. And there's a scene where Leo finds out that maybe these kids were killed or she's in prison. And obviously she's like super emotional. And then it goes to De Niro. De Niro like starts praying and he's like, it almost seems like he's possessed.
Mm-hmm.
It's really a shocking moment. And I don't know how many other actors there are that in the beginning of their careers, they delivered something that felt shocking and new and inspired. And they're still doing
that. Whatever Raging Bull did, it awoke something in you.
To be fair, so did Three Stooges and so did Love and Death by Woody Allen. And, you know, there were several things, but I do think that there's probably also the weight of like my older brother who we were never aware of his stardom. Like he never wore that. And we didn't have like entertainment magazines, but I knew that, you know, maybe just like a feeling in the air, maybe it's something that he felt and was emanating from him, or maybe he talked about that. I don't remember, but I know he was doing work that felt like it was beyond a, you know, as a kid, just go like, oh, cool, you're in a movie or something, right? You don't, this felt like there was something deeper and more resonant that was happening with him. And so maybe him talking about De Niro and Raging Bull made me think of it or appreciate it differently than some of the other things. I don't know.
It's infused with more meaning. Of course it is. I guess my question is, do you feel like whatever it was that was awoken in you from that film, that you got to use it for the first time in To Die For? Like, was that kind of the start of you, not saying you're doing De Niro, but like you jumping and making the kind of work that...
I don't know. I mean, I think I would argue that Parenthood, I think that was the birth of something for me because, you know, maybe it was, I didn't think that I would be working again because we moved from Los Angeles to Florida. And then I had this opportunity. They were filming it in Orlando, and Steve Martin and these, you know, famous people that I was, of course, aware of. And then Ron Howard, I knew, and I was probably very nervous. I remember that I didn't like the costume that I was being given, but I was too scared to say anything and I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. And I was like, what the fuck do I know? And so I like didn't say anything, but I clearly was unhappy and I couldn't hide it. And somehow, and I can't really remember whether I went to him or whether he came to me, Ron, but it came up and I just expressed that I didn't feel like it was right. And he said, you don't have to do that. And it was empowering and he empowered me. So that was like a very big moment for me in acting as well. But you wanted to ask about To Die For.
But that's good too.
To Die For certainly was, I went from being a young teenager to, you know, I think I turned 19 on To Die For.
That's insane.
And so it felt different and I didn't work between Parenthood and To Die For. It didn't work.
That was like 4 or 5 years, right?
Maybe I was 14 or 15 on Parenthood. I don't know. But maybe there was watching Raging Bull and being aware of that and my brother's, maybe how he talked about it, but also would just be like growing up a little bit, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Suddenly going from being a 14-year-old to, in that time, I lost my fucking virginity. Like all things change. I mean, I don't know. Sorry, wow, why are you blushing? It's okay. It's like happens. It's a fairly normal thing.
This is something between us, I thought.
That happens. Well.
We would not say on mic, but.
No. We're going to, and we're going back live because I think this is...
The numbers are going to be...
The Hill Street Blues people are tuning back in.
We've
like,
heard something about
what?
sex. What was
he
that?
lost his virginity? I gotta see this. They're not seeing it. I have to listen to this.
It's an audio medium. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
So, and what a shame that is, because to deprive people the
Of us.
opportunity to see all of this Burgundy. Is this
Fucking.
what? No. I don't even know what Burgundy is. This Burgundy?
But God, what I was gonna fucking ask you was, when you made this movie, I love To Die For. And like around the time you made the film, you had this quote. You said, "I just looked in my head, and there were all these characters roaming around in there, and I wanted to put them someplace. Acting was an outlet for me." For that movie, in that time in your life, was there something comforting about returning to this outlet with someone in Gus? Because he had worked with your brother and sister on 2 movies.
Yeah.
Did working with him seem like a good space to do that? Did you feel like you needed to do that?
Right. I don't know that I felt like I needed to because of that. I would tell you, I'm surprised you haven't brought up this story. Just kidding. This is not a real story. I feel like everything I say sounds like it's probably made up.
Yeah.
It does, doesn't it? By the way, I've spoken only truths today. I was visiting the set of My Own Private Idaho, and they were shooting a scene, and Gus was like, "Oh, do you want to be an extra?" It was like, there's these moments where you see these like headlights pass by these young men, right? Prostitutes. Like, I was trying to find like a nice way to say prostitute. I was like, I think it's just, okay, thank you. And when I'm saying this, I feel like I'm lying. I feel like I'm making this story up, but I'm telling you it's true. I didn't say this out loud, but I was like, no, I'm not going to do this because I'm going to do something else with Gus. And this is not it. And I mean, I don't know why. There's no reason that I should have thought that. I don't think that it was like me knowing. It was like a hopeful part of yourself that's like, don't ruin this possibility because you'll get up here and then he's going to go like, oh, he looks stupid, and then cut you out of the movie and then not want to.
Yeah.
It wasn't because I had this thing of like, one day. It was just like, don't ruin this possibility.
Something subconsciously that's telling you maybe there's something here down the line. The thing that you definitely don't know about yet for a person that you definitely aren't yet.
That's like literally the voice. So now I'm really tripping because this literally was your voice.
I'm so sorry that's the inner voice.
That was the inner voice. So anyways, yeah, I'm sure that there was a period before To Die For, like a year before, where I started thinking seriously about acting again. And part of it was my brother was encouraging me, and he was going to do this film and he wanted me to play his younger brother in it. And so I started like really thinking about it again. And then I feel like I was going to New York because that's where you would go to audition.
You remember the audition?
I do remember the audition. My concern was that I didn't want Gus to feel like obligated at all. You know, because somebody that you kind of know and they're up for an audition, you know what I mean? Like, it could be a little bit weird.
Right.
I didn't want him to like
feel obligated to what?
Well, just like he came out and he was like, oh, fuck. It was like really good. And I was like, oh, and I just couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? I guess I just thought like, well, I don't know how much I can trust what he says, but I did also feel that it was all right.
The quote from him was, I saw him audition, and when he left, I started crying.
Oh, grow up, Gus. I mean, sorry, I couldn't handle that feeling. It was too heavy.
What was the feeling?
I would mostly become concerned about you and like, yeah, thank you for sitting up straight now, because you were like slumping forward a little bit. I just didn't know if you were going to keep it together. I'm like, do I have to start fucking hosting this thing?
It's an ongoing question of the show every week.
Yeah, and I can see why, because you seem like you're always on the precipice. But no, listen, it's really sweet. But if he didn't know me and have that history, I don't think it's because my reading was so good. It had to do with like our history, I'm sure.
Right.
But no matter what, it just was right. My acting. It's like the way I looked. That's so much a part of like why people get jobs. It's really important. A lot of this is like, there's a train that's moving.
Right.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with that analogy, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
Just keep it rolling.
There's things cute. There are things that it's moving. There's a target. You're starting shooting on this date. And it's moving. And so what happens is like, you're like, we got to start reading people. We got to get people for this part. We have Nicole Kidman, and we have this, and this is when we're shooting, and it's weather dependent. And so things are moving.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go to this. That's the guy. That's the guy. He's not available. Okay, what about this person? Try out this person. This person is like, wow, that guy's clearly an amazing actor, but he's like way too handsome for this. Like, he doesn't seem like he's like this uneducated white trash kid that can be manipulated. Enter me. But part of it is just like, there is a certain amount of work, and you look right, and you find some way that's interesting, but all of those things have to come together. So it's
situational. I mean, some of it is like it's more fickle than people want it to be, but also you're clearly doing something.
Is your dad still alive?
Yeah.
Cool. How old is he?
58.
So young.
Yeah, I just turned 30 last week.
Great. Our kids, are you thinking?
Why are you thinking about that?
I was curious whether you have a kid, because you seem like, because it's one of those things, it's probably really annoying to people that don't want to have kids, but when you have kids, you want everybody to have that experience. And you seem like you would be a good dad. I mean, obviously you're making money out of this, I assume, I hope. So it's like, maybe that's why you're being attentive, but you seem like you have a curiosity and intelligence and a humor, and these are all things that a kid would enjoy. I could see you being a father. Something else I would like to point out, that at some point in the future, maybe it's in 6 months, maybe in 6 years, we may see each other somewhere, and you will come up to me, maybe you'll come up to me, maybe you won't. But if you do, you might say, hey, Joaquin, Sam. And I'm going to look at you with confusion, but I'm going to pretend to know. And you're going to say, Sam from the podcast. And I'm going to say, Ferguson?
And I'll be like, Fragoso, it's Mexican.
And I'm going to say, dude, well, yes. Oh, fuck yeah. What's up, man? And I'm going to give you a hug, and it'll be slightly awkward because
I like hugs.
Right. But it'll be because I don't actually know who I'm hugging or why.
Right. You think it's Ferguson.
And I just want to tell you, that doesn't mean that I haven't enjoyed this time in your company, and I think you're a sincere, kindly fellow. So
thank you, man. That's nice.
Let's end this.
We're in the third act now. All right. Thank you.
It's been a long time since I've walked out of an interview. They say there is no bad press. So
look, you do you want to do, but I think let's make
giving
this
you a killer ending, by the way. But
you
whatever.
Walking out, or are you saying this nice thing you just said to me?
Not that one. Definitely don't end it nice.
After the break, more from my conversation with Joaquin Phoenix. Coming back, you make this movie to die for, and then what happened after is like there's Gladiator and the yards and signs and Walk the Line, and we don't have time to get into that today.
Right.
But at the end of it, there was some part of you, and it's the reason you arrive at I'm Still Here, is because some part of you said that Casey and I would constantly, after every movie, without fail, say to each other, I'm quitting. And that is what it sounds like led you to that documentary, mockumentary, whatever you want to call it. Is that how it felt to you at the time?
No. Part of the joke was, how do you retire from something when you're still
in your 30s?
Yeah. It was just kind of like the privilege to think like, maybe I don't want to do this. Right? Like in your 30s, right? That was kind of the joke of it. But I certainly have always felt and still feel there is a part of the business that makes my fucking skin crawl.
When you say that, what are you thinking about?
It's like doing podcasts.
As he stares into my eyes.
It's also like not a big fucking deal. So there's shit you do, you sell a movie, there's press, and you just go to fucking parties, and it's all like, who fucking cares? It's fine. Not a problem. But it's also alarming and disgusting. And it's just my personality that I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy the energy when there's like several people like in one space that all feel a pressure to like achieve something that night. We've got to make noise. We get, it's just, there's a lot of pressure. There's jobs on the line. And so there's something that happens to people and we all succumb to it. Like there's always this moment where you're like, whatever a fucking normal human being is, like a person, you woke up and you ate and all that fucking shit that you do. And then like at some point you're trying to convince someone of something. You're trying to convince somebody that like, either like you're happy to be there or they should be happy to be there or this thing is really great or whatever the fuck it is. There's a lot of energy and everybody is selling something and we're selling things to each other.
Right.
And the people that are like doing the interviews oftentimes, they're like, I don't want to fucking be here either. But like, it's my fucking job is I got to fucking pretend and we're all wearing makeup and we're looking at each other and there's something just really uncomfortable where you know that you're lying to each other and it's not a big lie. It's not the fucking end of the world, right? But it's just, there's something that just feels or makes me feel uncomfortable. And so maybe it's magnified by the fact that not to be all fucking pretentious or too sincere, but in those moments where you are like on set with Gus Van Sant or Paul Thomas Anderson or Lynne Ramsay, or there's something creative that's happening again, and it's not about it being for other people or being big or being noticed, whatever. Those moments do feel special and important to the people involved, but you are part of a dance. You are riding this wave with somebody else. And there are several people that are all part of this moment that you're capturing. And you're all like working together and inspiring each other. And that's fucking cool. And anybody that's been in a band where you've locked in, anybody knows that feeling. And whatever kind of collaborative effort you're doing, if it's building a fucking wall, it doesn't matter, right? You're creating something together where there wasn't something before, there's now. And that is incredible. And then the promotion of that thing feels very far removed. But there can also be moments of creativity in that as well, right? But more often than not, I find it uncomfortable. People crowded together and photographers and they don't want to be there. And it's just.
But the pure thing you're talking about, the thing that's on set in a moment, it's the thing that you felt for an instant on Hill Street Blues.
Right, that no one else did.
Who are all still listening, or not. It is something. And I guess what I want to ask you is when you made that film, I'm Still Here, you said it was unbelievably liberating. It was the best thing I've ever done in terms of helping me grow as an actor and having a deeper appreciation for acting. I just I wanted to know in the decade that followed that, whether it was with her or The Master or the Lynne Ramsay film, You Were Never Really Here. When you say deeper appreciation for acting, what does that mean exactly?
For trying to create a scenario, I think it taught me to be comfortable to move farther away from anything that's controlled or any kind of guaranteed outcome. And so part of it is, we do these scenes and I'm Still Here. And when the other person I was working with, when they knew what we were doing, I was a friend and we were doing a scene together, I would be like, winking like the entire time. I was like, we're doing this joke together. And when I was doing a scene with Edward James Olmos, we didn't communicate. That made me unsure of how far I could push things. And is there a chance that I really offend him? And so I think that it taught me that there was in my opinion, that the very best moments were the ones where I don't get credit for that moment, that you get credit for setting up the world and making yourself available. But I think that maybe when I was younger, I thought the idea was you construct a character, you build a character, you say, here are the walls of their life. These are things that he does and he doesn't do. I think it's partially there's a slow process of that being dismantled, but I'm Still Here really brought it sharply into focus of I do all of this work and then I throw myself into a situation and I don't know what I'm going to do. And even if I think this is what I want to do, I'm not, even as I'm doing it, I don't feel okay, this is what I'm doing. And I think that creates an energy.
I heard you told Ari Aster, when I'm reading a script, I'll sometimes go, I figured it out. This is great. I'm going to be good. And without fail, on the first day or two,
it's true.
You go oh my God.
No, every time.
How did I fucking think this was going to work?
Every single, no, it's not only how I think this work, but it's a really painful lesson, especially as you become more well-known and you're now I'm the older actor on set. And usually most people are everyone's just doing their job. They don't care, right? But every actor's a little self-obsessed and thinking like, oh, these other actors are probably gonna be like, what is he gonna do?
Yeah. You are on the poster.
You're on the poster. But I have to learn every single time that like, almost certainly those moments where you think, I fucking have it.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that when I get on set, I don't have it.
Yeah, you said one time, immediately humbled and lost. And out of that comes something, out of that desperation and brutal humiliation. Is that still?
Totally.
That's where it is. That's what you have to work through.
100%. Every time. It's funny, man. I just was working with Ari and we were just sitting just like a couple days before shooting. And I was like, I don't want to look stupid. I don't want everyone to know that I'm no good. I don't. And I like admitted it. I was like, yeah, I want to be good. I want to be really good. And
Hey, you know the humiliation thing? This time,
let's not fucking do it.
I'm tired.
And we did like this pre-shoot day. You know, it's a thing that could be used or not, but it still was a defining moment for the character. And to be honest, again, there are some things that I was like, that was pretty good. Oh, that's fun. That could be funny. All of that stuff was lost, wiped away. So I was like, okay, fine. We did it. Day 1, done. All right. Day 2, nothing day. Day 3, a bit of a moment. Here we go. Fucking unbelievably painful. The kind of thing where you really do sense the crew is like, they feel for you. Like, it's like one of those things where like, you know, when you see somebody dying, you're just like, failing, dying. And you kind of like, they want to kind of do like a pat, like stick with it. Like that. You know, it's like one of those things. And like, the actor's like talking to the director. He's like, do you think he would do that? Does that?
He's not going to do it the whole time, right?
It's so crushing. And we had to just eat it. I had to just apologize and go to lunch knowing that we had a very limited amount of time and a tight schedule. And I just completely burnt up the morning doing nothing. And then Ari and I just stayed on set while everyone went to lunch and just talked it through. And something emerged that at least allowed you to go forward. I don't know if it's any good, but it just was not, didn't make you want to end everything.
Paul Thomas Anderson said, he will have 4 great days where he can do no wrong. And then 2 of the most horrendous days of acting I've ever seen.
Oh, man.
I think he was talking about The Master in that case.
Yeah. I mean, the difference between like a good performance or an all right performance, like a great performance, is a director. And in my like estimation, haven't done anything great yet, but I think there's hope. And I'm not saying that to be humble. I really, truly mean that. I still feel. You
really feel like you've done, like we could take it all into a bin and just.
Well, no, let's not be dramatic. I mean, I'm not saying throw it all away. Or, I mean, yeah, that is the feeling that I have, but I'm trying to be like mature about it.
Sorry, inner voice. That was mine. Sorry.
I've done therapy to be about like, but I think in the best way, because there's not a finish line. We invent these things, like these marks that are supposed to say that we've achieved something in whatever our creative endeavor is. And it's just not the case, right? Yeah. You do those things and you realize like there's something that's more about my soul that is trying to express something or be a part of some expression. And I imagine that just like everything worthwhile in life, it's something that you constantly will have to work at and nurture and cultivate.
Right. And that part of you, the thing that signifies you've done a good job, I think to many people would be like an award. And obviously you won that Best Actor before the world shut down, or as the world shut down.
That's the reason why. And people are like, well, like, this is it.
We're giving it to this?
Fuck it. Yeah, like this is clearly we've got to reboot everything because
this is the performance that's number one.
Right. Talk about like going off the tracks.
And that's clearly what I meant as I was setting this up.
No, I know. Trust me. I know.
But can I ask you, like, when you gave that speech, it's an emotional speech, and I was moved by it. And the last thing you said was,
I want to when he was 17, my brother wrote this lyric. He said, "Run to the rescue with love and peace will follow." Thank you.
I basically had like 8 different things roaming around in my head, and I was just pacing around, and I was saying shit out loud, like, what will come out?
When you're preparing for the speech.
It's the same way as, coming here, like, I don't know what will come out, but I didn't have a fixed idea. I could talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
Because it seemed pretty structured.
It was not. There were two things that I knew. That what I wanted to say was something about, because I had seen this video close to that time where a calf was taken from the mother and taken into this trailer and driven, and the mother is like calling out to the calf and like running through the field and running after the trailer. And it's like heart-wrenching. And I wanted to say like, that being is going to endure that pain so you can have milk in your fucking coffee. That I knew that I wanted to say. And then I was talking with my mom and my wife, and we were just kind of like talking shit, philosophizing, kind of whatever, just like what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that my mom, something I said sparked that memory. And she goes, so you remember, River wrote, that was like his thing that he used to sign. I think maybe he signed autographs, or maybe it was, I can't remember where it came from, or if it was a lyric. And Rooney was like, that's what you should say. So those were really two things, but how I got into those things, I didn't really know. But there was a captive audience. And
There was a captive audience. I guess my question for you as we go, like,
this is the end. You're ending with this.
I have a 2-part thing here, but we could do whatever the hell you want.
This is so a 2-part thing.
I give us options,
what do you
man. Like you, I come with a lot of options. I've failed a lot.
I like that.
But like, I guess what I was trying to get at is like, you heard your mom say it. You heard your wife be like, "Oh, that's it." And I'm just thinking, in the 4 years since you said that, you had a couple kids. We started the show talking about your kid and gratitude, and I was just wondering if that line, "Run to the rescue with love and peace will follow," and this is sincere. Do you feel like you're living that?
Fuck you. Fuck you. Do I feel like I live that? Oftentimes I absolutely fall short of that. There are many times where I am not running to the rescue with love.
Mm-hmm.
And you need no more
that.
evidence than this here right now. Oftentimes I run away from love and warmth and sincerity in favor of a crass joke. So I don't know, but I'm very fortunate that, dare I say, I'm very grateful that I have so many people in my life that I think do live by that philosophy, starting with my mom, who truly embodies that philosophy, and my wife, Rooney, and my kids who don't even understand it as a philosophy. It just is, right? It just is part of them. And so I do witness it constantly. It is alive and permeates so much of my life. But I wouldn't say that I am on the steed leading the charge. But look, I tell you, man, there's still hope for me.
Right.
I'm going to do a great performance one day. I am.
That was my last question. You feel like everything you've done, The Master, Her, going back to Die For, skipping ahead to any of the James Gray films, like Two Lovers, which is such a good movie, and looking at those, you can't say you've done a great job. Do you believe you will?
You know what? Maybe not. I mean, in some ways, I hope I don't, because then that will be the end of this. And I don't want it to end, right? And I think that will mean like that I've learned everything I could learn. I don't know that that's possible. Maybe it is. There might be. I mean, maybe there are people that are like, they write this last song, like, that was it. Like, I did it. I fully expressed everything I was meant to do, and I'm done. Maybe. But part of me doesn't believe that. I mean, part of me feels like the basic foundation, like any spiritual practice, is that you are constantly working at it, right? There's no time where you don't achieve enlightenment. Maybe it's brief moments, but I do think there's still something in me that's percolating, and it'll maybe it finds a new way of expressing it, or maybe it is done. I don't know.
As you're saying that, I was thinking about that scene in Raging Bull that we were watching, and then how both of us started talking about The Irishman and thinking like 80 new moves. And I will say, I wish that for you.
Thank you. I wish it for everybody. I do. Maybe I'm wrong about everything I said. Maybe I should shut the fuck up. Maybe the thing to do is to shut the fuck up and just appreciate what you have had, in the experience that you've had. And maybe it's not for you to judge and to know what is the thing or not the thing. You know, of course, the ego part of me wants to go like, no, I want to achieve greatness. But if I'm really honest, I'd go like, oh, the thing that would be best is if I just like shut the fuck up because I don't actually know what that is. And I just appreciated whatever happened because right now, life is good. And I hope everyone can feel that way about their lives.
Me too. And speaking of gratitude, which is where we started, I really appreciate you coming in and doing this. I know you're not going to be able to hear this, but I really do care about so much that you've put into this world. It has meant a lot to me, and it means a lot that you've showed up for this show and talked for as long as you have. And I appreciate you for that.
Thank you. I can't end on a good note. I just wanted to tell you, I'm going to go home and just feel awful. I'm going to replay this in my mind. I was so insecure. I'm going to hate myself. The amount of verbiage, it just repulses. It is. It's because we're in this fucking cocoon with this goddamn burgundy, and it just fucking does this number on you. Like, I don't like myself. I'm going to go out into the fucking light and the real sun, the real world, and the voices are just going to be screaming at me, and I'm not going to have your soothing voice in my head. It's going to be back to my inner voice. My inner voice is going to be mean. So I'm leaving here, and I want to say thank you, but now I'm feeling like fuck you. So that's how I'm ending this, okay? You can end with whatever sincere gesture you want. That is a perfect example of not running to the rescue with love.
You do have my number.
I will. I'm going to immediately delete it, and don't follow me out. Thank you, Sam, so much. Honestly, really, I'm sure that was like a lot to endure. Bye-bye.
That was Joaquin Phoenix. You know, you've seen his movies. You heard the show. Always, forever, one of one. And that's our show. If you enjoyed that very singular episode with Joaquin Phoenix, leave us 5 stars on Spotify, Apple, wherever you do your listening. I want to give a special thanks this week to Spike Jonze, Warner Brothers, Shelter PR, and of course our guest, Joaquin Phoenix. His new film, Joker, Folie, Deux, opens in theaters October 4th. For more episodes like this one, well, there are no episodes like this one, but for more episodes with other great actors, I'd recommend Tom Hanks, Michelle Williams, Oscar Isaac, and John Bernthal. To hear those and more Pushkin podcasts, listen on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you like to listen. If you want to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you can do so at TalkEasyPod. If you want to purchase one of our mugs, they come in cream or navy, or the vinyl record we made with writer Fran Lebowitz, you can do so at TalkEasyPod.com/shop. Talk Easy is produced by Caroline Reebok. Our executive producer is Chinixa Bravo. Today's talk was edited by Adam Jamal and mixed by Andrew Vastola. Our music is by Dylan Peck. Our illustrations are by Krisha Shenoy. Research assistance today is by Anna Ferre-Moutinho. I also want to thank our team at Pushkin Industries, Justin Richmond, Carrie Brody, Jacob Smith, Eric Sandler, Kira Posey, Jordan McMillan, Amy Hagedorn, Tara Machado, Sarah Bruguer, Owen Miller, Sarah Nix, Malcolm Gladwell, Greta Cohen, and Jacob Weisberg. I'm Sam Fragoso. Thank you for listening to Talk Easy. I'll see you back here next week with the one and only Francis Ford Coppola. Until then, stay safe, and so long.